If you guys are supposed to be getting a headshot, it's fine for you guys to do that while the panel's going on. If you want to get up and get something to drink while we're doing this, go get something to drink. If you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Just be mindful the door does lock. Alex, can I have you like chill over there and sit by the door? Okay, cool. Okay, so Alex will let you back in, but if you guys need to go to the restroom, I would go do it now. Does anyone need to go? No? Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to let these ladies get to their seats and then we're going to begin, okay? I don't know, I swear. everyone. I just want to tell you I'm so grateful that you guys all chose to come and spend your beautiful Sunday with me today. My name is Fallon Price, but some of you guys may know me as the skin therapist, and I've been a licensed esthetician for 10 years now. It's been my mission in this lifetime to ensure that my community is thriving mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, but it hasn't always looked like this for me. I didn't get into this industry with a perfect roadmap. I didn't have a mentor handing me the keys. I didn't have a trust fund to fall back on or a supportive partner that kind of supported me while I chased my dreams. So everything that I've built and that I have today, from my clients to my courses to my collaborative wellness space, I've built from intuition, grit, and a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error. So when I first started, I thought that being an esthetician was just about giving great treatments. And I didn't realize how much my mindset, boundaries, business strategy, and self-belief would be required to stay afloat, let alone succeed. I've cried in the treatment rooms. I've doubted my path. I've made expensive mistakes, good Lord. But through it all, I held on to one core belief, that this work matters. That healing the skin is just the beginning, and that we're also healing confidence, we're restoring identity, and we're holding space for people when they need it the most. That belief became the foundation of everything I do, and it's what's inspired me to start mentoring other estheticians like you guys, especially the ones who feel unseen, unsupported, or unsure if they're even meant for this path. So today I'm honored to be joined by a group of women that I deeply respect, not just because they're talented in the treatment room, but because they've built their careers with heart, integrity, and resilience, okay? So I want to introduce each one of the panelists, and really I'm just going to introduce them and tell you how I know them. I'm going to let them tell you about themselves on their own, okay? So our first panelist today is Miss Kayla, and I met Kayla through a beta, and also had the honor of having her in a classroom with me for a business class that I taught with another educator within the aesthetics industry. She's definitely been a force in the industry, and I've truly enjoyed watching her evolution and growth, and her passion is super contagious. Then we have Miss Mary Ann, and I came across Mary Ann because she had a really cool article in Dermascope about facial acupuncture. And when I looked her up and realized that she was right around the corner from me in Broad Ripple, I immediately reached out to her, even though she was on a wait list, because I definitely needed to get into a treatment with her. And so I got lucky, and we found a day that worked, and I went and received a treatment from her, and it was amazing. Her space was amazing, her presence is, and so is the work that she's doing within this industry. Then we have Stasia, and, oh, I'm sorry, Ella, see, I messed up the... Okay, so we actually have Ella next, and I met Ella at the grand opening of the Babe Cave. I'm sure that some of you have heard of the Babe Cave that's owned by Liz Bell. She does a lot of body treatments and facial treatments as well. So I've gotten treatments from her, and then we've also done some collaborative business things on some of the things that we do outside of the aesthetics industry. So she's definitely very multifaceted and has a very magnetic energy. Then we have Stasia. And I've had the pleasure of really watching her through social media. I've watched her grow her brand. She's definitely very creative, very intentional with everything that she does. And I've got to kind of be around her a little bit too as she was going through her schooling to get her educator's license out of beta. So when I was there doing demo, she was in the room. So then next we have Miss Dina, and she was actually my aesthetics educator when I went to a beta. So she's the one who kind of taught me the foundation to be able to get to where I am today. And she probably doesn't even realize how much of my journey she really is a part of. So thankful for her to be here today. And then last is Miss Julie. And Miss Julie is currently an educator at Indiana Wellness College. So she's been my go-to contact for me to get into the school and do demos. And then I also had the pleasure of having her in one of my classrooms, one of my trainings, which I was honored to be asked. But she definitely has a very solid commitment to education, and that's something that I really respect and love about her. So these are the panelists, okay? We are going to let them kind of get into more of what they do here in a moment, but I'm going to talk at you guys for just a couple more minutes, okay? So each of these women have taken a different path, but all of them have built careers that are rooted in purpose, intention, and real life experience. And you guys are really going to gain a lot of knowledge from hearing your stories today. But before we dive in, I do want to say this. Let today be a safe space for you, a space where you're allowed to ask questions, a space where you don't have to pretend to have it all figured out, in a space where it's okay to not know which direction you're going in next. Whether you're still in school, newly licensed, or even a few years in but struggling to find your groove, there's room for you here today. And the truth is, the moment that you stop trying to be perfect is really when your career will start feeling real to you. So, I invite you to lean in, take notes, be vulnerable, laugh, cry if you need to today. You're not just here to collect tips, you're here to gain clarity, confidence, and most of all, community. Because the answers you're looking for don't always come from a textbook, they come from real conversation and real connection. I created this panel because I know how lonely this journey can feel, and I wanted to bring you to a room full of people who get it. So, with that, let's get real, let's ask the questions that have been keeping me stuck, let's peel back the curtain, and talk about what it really means to build a sustainable, soulful career in aesthetics. Welcome to Real Talk, Real Estheticians. Let's begin. All right, so the very first thing we're gonna do is let the panelists go down and just tell you a little bit about themselves, okay? So we're gonna start with Miss Kayla.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Kayla Coleman. I'm the owner of Industry Lashes, which is a luxury beauty service brand. So we offer lash extensions, primarily lash extensions, waxing. And I'm trying to get into my coaching bag, so trainings and courses will be available soon. And then last July, I want to say, I opened up a beauty and wellness co-working community called the Glow Spot Indy, and that is located just 10 minutes north of downtown Indy.
Thank you.
My name is that good?
Yeah.
Volume? Okay. My name is Mary Ann Tolkowski. I am the owner of Project Gorgeous Indy, and I'm located in Broad Ripple. I've been practicing aesthetics in Indianapolis since 2012, and esthetician since 2008. Holistic aesthetics is my passion. I also am an acupuncturist, as Fallon mentioned, so dual license. And I am an educator and sales rep for Eminence Organic Skincare. I've been their representative in the Indiana territory for, it will be going on 14 years. So I really am passionate about skincare, and I see a lot of estheticians and spas, people doing their thing in different avenues. I'm really passionate about natural beauty, and not just how you appear on the outside, but how you feel on the inside, aligning those two. So I combine life coaching with my services as well. So I don't often give a relaxing facial, I mean, that's my goal, but oftentimes people are sharing their challenges, and when you practice, you start to grow older with people. So we, come to form relationships with my clients, and so it's really exciting to be able to grow and challenge myself as well in doing different things. So I'm excited to be here, and Fallon, thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you guys for coming out on a Sunday to invest in yourselves.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ella Bardo with Ella Bardo Esthetics Wellness. So we focus on non-invasive body sculpting, face sculpting, energy healing, also Reiki master. And we focus a lot on using stuff with electricity. So I've also been a teacher for the Jade Aesthetics for 11 years now, which is frequency-specific microcurrent, a little bit different than regular microcurrent. But we can do amazing things with it. Like most microcurrents can't really throw hair, get rid of cellulite, do all these things. This can. It's really exciting for me to be able to help a lot of people add this to what they're already doing, because it fits in so many amazing ways. So I've had a spa here, I've had a spa in Miami, I used to have employees, and now I realize that so many of my employees that I'm still besties with after 11 years, I'm just really good at helping people be their best selves. And so many of them were like, they were meant to be business owners, they were meant to be boss babes, so how could I hold them back? So I realize that's more of my talent than, having employees and stuff, so it's been really fun diving into that, helping so many different, not even just estheticians, massage therapists, doctors for physical therapy, because it is so much about inside out, and also about being able to move your body. So I'm very passionate about, not just helping people look good, but we do that on a cellular level, so that, we can live for a very long time, move our body for a long time, and then die for a very short amount of time. So Thank you so much, Fallon, for putting this together. She always does the most amazing events. If you ever see her advertisement, I highly recommend. It's always very multifaceted and lovely, and I'm just excited and honored to be here. Thank you.
My name is Stacia Berry, and I'm the owner of Children and Naked. We are, my main service is full body waxing. That's what we do mostly, but my passion is intimate skincare. So along with waxing, we really get to the root of intimate skin issues and come up with treatment plans to fix those. We also make all of our products in-house for the skin. And recently, in the last couple of years, I have went back on my instructor's license, because now I'm very, I'm trying to grow my business as far as teaching and things like that. I love educating. I love teaching other estheticians, about the beauty industry, about how to grow their business, teaching them the skill of waxing and intimate skincare, and just how to be passionate about your clients and how to grow your clients and all those good things. And yeah. Okay, I'm not good at this at all, which is kind of ironic because I stand in classrooms all the time and facilitate. So I guess this is something that you can't under pass. But I'm Dina. A lot of people know me as Dee. I have been in the industry since 1997. So if we do girl math, it's like 100 years. And, I love Starbucks. So I started off as an esthetician. I've always been a fan of, beauty and makeup, and a lot of people that know me feel like I was born into the industry because I come from a long line of people within my family that are also in the industry. So it was something that I just fell naturally into. As I started my career, I found myself in the land of makeup, and so doing a lot of production work, movie work, photography, runway, like you name it, editorial, like it was there, which we can get into a little bit more. But when I came into Aveda, my sole purpose was to take those students and actually bring them on to production sets and show them a different way of utilizing your licenses. And halfway through my career of teaching, I went back and got my hair license as well. And so I'm dual licensed there, and I also have a medical license attached to myself as well, which was after I had left Aveda, moved into different territories. So I've been trying to encompass utilizing my licenses in multiple different ways. Currently, I do have one salon, which is in Carmel, and we just signed another deal to open up another salon, which is over in the McCourtsville area as well. And finding myself back into production in the LA scene. So we'll see what happens there in the future. So lots to talk about. Fallon, again, thank you. She truly is, and I have, a couple other that are out here today listening, but truly a true testament of why I have done what I've done for so long. So, very proud of you.
My name is Julie Powers. I am an instructor at Indiana Wellness College, and and I have a small practice in Irvington at Salon Citrine. My journey was a little different. I have a BA in theater from Butler. I doubled down, got an MFA in acting in Minnesota, and I worked as an entertainer professionally for 12 years, owned a theater for 5, and when that closed, I didn't really know what to do, so I kept in the entertainment industry as a production makeup artist, doing film, music video, that kind of thing. And then I realized in Indiana you have to be an esthetician. So I went back to school. I was salty about it at the time because I was a single parent and I had to stop working to go back and go to school, and I didn't love that idea very much. Very glad I did it, obviously. So I got my license and just kind of continued doing what I was doing until COVID. And then I'm like, okay, there's no production work now, so I got my educator's license, and Dina actually helped me with that. And started teaching in June 2020, and I've been doing that ever since. And I have a lot of alumni and current students who will cry. It's very cool. Thank you so much for having me on the panel, and I'm very excited to talk to you today.
You're gonna start the questions.
Oh, I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, obviously Q was supposed to be here today too, but Q lives in Florida now and there was tropical storms, so she couldn't make her flight yesterday. So Q will not be able to make it today, but maybe next time, okay? All right, so, you guys all submitted some questions, so I've kind of compiled those with some of my own thought-provoking questions, and then we're also gonna pull some questions from the audience too, so if you guys have a question in mind or don't have one in mind, go ahead and start thinking about it, okay? So the first question that we are gonna ask our panelists today is going to be, let's see which one, let's start with, how do you gain and retain clients, especially in an intimate service like waxing or when you're first building your name?
So, good question. I kind of reach out to people that I know to start. Every time you move or start a new business, I had one on the west side for a few years, and it wasn't great, and I ended it, and then I started this new business in Irvington about a year and a half ago, and every time you start over, you're starting over. So you may have a handful of clients that will follow you, but it's a pretty big jump from like Hendricks County to Irvington, and so very few of them did. So I made a point to talk to people in the neighborhood. Irvington, fortunately, is a lovely little neighborhood and very supportive of small businesses. And if they can get it done there, they will. So I was able to reach out to local business owners who would come support. Some of the social groups, Irvington has the Black Hat Society, the witches, make good friends with the witches, get them on my table, and then it's just word of mouth, right? Because I started with not a ton of money, and so I couldn't afford like big advertising campaigns. So most of my business has grown through clients that are happy, they tell other people, they come in. The build is slow, but once I get them there, like my focus has always been on, I want an intentional service. I want to build relationships with my clients. I'm not interested in volume. I'm interested in taking time with the people I have on my table. I always book a little extra space between appointments, so if we go over, if they need a little something else, we have that time. And I feel like I give them a thoughtful, personalized service. Hopefully they enjoy it, they tell their friends, they come back, and then I get referrals. And for me, that's what has worked the best. And of course, you know, a year and a half in, I'm still building the clientele. So we're still on that road.
Thank you.
Same question?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so for, I don't know really how to follow up after that because she pretty much said exactly everything that I feel like doing.
Maybe you could give them a perspective for how you're finding clients for your new
Yeah.
space.
So for me still being a service provider and also being an owner, those two for me go hand in hand. And so ultimately providing a safe place, not just for myself and those that work with me or for me, but for any client that comes in. So making sure that my environment is safe, that it's warm, it's loving, and that the intention behind everything that I'm doing for them is felt and received. Because if it's not, you're not gonna retain them. Like I've always said, 90% of what we do is actual intention and 10% of what we do is actually technique. So, and with technique and time, like as you service people and as you grow, that's only gonna be, it's gonna become better and it's gonna build your confidence and your ability to be able to take those services to the next level. But more importantly, again, it's building that intimate space because they're coming to you with the most personal, most private challenges that they might be having. And so it's up to me to make sure that my intention is in place every single time and that whatever I'm dealing with, I leave it at the door. I cannot bring any of my stuff into that service because it's not about me, it's about them. And I think too, sometimes people get really frustrated that they're 15 minutes late, don't they know? Like I got, and it's, sometimes you have to realize what we do and for them to get to us, because they're also not only investing in themselves, but they're investing in us as well, because they're choosing to come to us, that we're possibly the best part of their day, and we have no idea what it's taken for them to save the money to come see, or fight whatever their battles were during the day before they actually get to our doorstep. So I always keep that in front of my mind, and that helps me provide the attention that I need to, in order to get good service. And with that, they will feel it, they will receive it, and they're gonna come back. So that's what I tell everybody. It doesn't matter if they're doing hair, if they're doing nails, if they're in a spa. That's just my approach as far as, really starting the foundation of building your clientele and making your clientele last. Because they will become loyal and they will stay with you.
Well, being a waxer, does kind of add a little extra on top of building clientele, but in the beginning, my biggest thing that brought clients in was referrals. So people coming in, getting services done, and referring their friends. But when they come to me, I have always, even when I didn't have what I have now, I've always been super intentional about creating a safe space that was a judgment-free zone. So especially when I first started, like, a lot of women didn't know how to exfoliate, they didn't know how to clean things properly, and I don't judge. Like, we walk through the things, we educate on the things. Like, I'm always been really big on educating potential clients, current clients online too. That's the majority of my online presence. So when people come to me, they come with their questions, they feel safe talking to me. And then I think another big thing is kind of watching how you educate. Like, you want to come from a loving place, not like because people don't know what they don't know, and what might be common sense to you might not be common sense to somebody else. And that's something that is very important to know in the beginning. Like, you can't be mad at people for not knowing things. And I think the fact that I've stayed so approachable, especially with clients, has helped me really build my clientele, especially in the industry, because it is a very intimate service. People are walking in, they don't know you from the nail room, and they're taking off all their clothes, and they're laying on your table, and it's your job to make them feel as comfortable as humanly possible being a stranger. And I think me and everybody in my shop does a really good job with that. Like, when you walk in, you feel the warmth. Like, my mom works my front desk, so you come in, she's like, "Hey, girl," so then and then everybody in there, I'm real big like everybody speaking when somebody walks in the door. So just like giving you, just from the moment you walk in, just making you feel like you're one of us. So after your first time, we're friends, like, with everybody in the shop. So so yeah, that's just how I've been able to build my clientele.
So I started, like Fallon said, like, no money, no backup, I'm just, quitting this job or starting a new one, right? And I really put all of my energy into that, and, it paid off. So I went to so many networking meetings. I don't care if there was 4 people there, if there were 17 people there, and that really helped me to get out of my shell and learn to, like, speak to other people, like, give my 60-second, elevator speech. And, with what I do, people see instant results, like, that day. So, being really good, like, when I'm training my, other estheticians, is being so good at those before and after pictures, being honest with them so you can see the difference. Because once they see the difference once, they're just gonna be like, okay, how soon can I come back? And, like, what can I afford next? So as long as you're giving a A quality, like, unbelievable results, you know what I mean? Then I think that's the best way to gain trust, and then you will get a lot more referrals. I actually had my phone stolen with all my before and after pictures in it, like, about a month in, which was, like, so heartbreaking. Like, my mother's first pictures were on there. She'd, like, just turned 50. They were so good. Like, we got rid of her 11s in, like, one session. I was like, oh, heartbroken. But luckily, I did so good that I had all these walking billboards around. And, I always tell people, like, hey, if you're just starting, say I have a spa that's starting, yes, this is gonna be a $500 service, but right now you can get 12 sessions for $100 a piece, right? Because we're just starting. So you're being honest, hey, this is what this service is gonna be worth. I am just starting, we don't have that book yet, but then, getting those before and after pictures, because then it's like, dude, I have thousands of them now, so you can always see what is going on. And even if and then making sure that you're putting, like, your name and stuff on it, you know, so even if somebody, they're not allowing them to use them on your page, but they can send this to their mom, or they can send it to their sister, they can send it to, you know, whoever's gonna be close, and then you're gonna have, I mean, I remember when I just had one room and I had whole families in there, like I had the mom, I had 3 of the sisters, I had like the oldest niece, the one, as soon as she turned 18 in there, and just really going back to back to back, you know, and then eventually it grew into more of that, but the less busy you are, the more busier you should be. You know what I mean? You also just can't wait around, you know? So like, you can go on like meetups.com, you can look at places like this, just anywhere there's people, there's always gonna be somebody who wants to look better and feel better, and that's what you can offer people too. So, also, you know, I mean, like I'll train some of, you know, when I had estheticians, you know, we could just go sit somewhere and look really good, right? And then people are just gonna be like, what is that? I mean, I used to sit at La Peeps and order a thing of lavender mimosas if I needed clients, and walk in there with a custom Ayurvedic bright green strep-looking skincare mask. And they're like, "Hi, would you like a lavender mimosa?" I'm like, who is this crazy lady? This guy is like, do you want to actually come and see my spa? You know what I mean? Like, so just definitely don't be afraid to get out and talk to people, and you know, be seen. You want people to be like, who's that? So she's coming vision. I was like, wow, what is it? I'm like, hello, I have it for sale. You can book right now. You know what I mean? But, I mean, and the other thing is, you are always going to be building a clientele. Like, I've had this business in for 11 years. I had one in Miami, Florida, in the design district. When I had one in Miami, Florida, I was waking up driving to Coral Gables to show up at a BNI meeting at 6 a.m. And there's a much different audience there. You also have to be careful in Indiana with, if you are speaking to people, what kind of eye contact you're making when you're saying certain things. Because here people get very offended. And like I'm autistic, so I'm just trying to follow like what the rules are of like making eye contact and stuff. And usually like when you make it a point in speech class, like in college, so like you have to make eye contact. So I'm going around and then I'm like, no, body sculpting. And then I swear I have people who hate me 11 years later because I made eye contact. What do you mean I need body sculpting? He's like, oh, I was just trying to make eye contact. So in Miami, totally different. I can do that and I'll have a line of people waiting to talk to me. Here, if you're saying something or something about intimate, you know what I mean? Like, can't imagine that would be even worse. Like, you know, you had a vagina accident. It was like, oh my God, how did you know I need that? So if you're saying something where, you know, in certain markets where people might be a little touchy or triggered, you know, say it's the opposite. So you want to talk to everybody and then be like body sculpting. And then bring it right back to them, because like literally 90% of communication is nonverbal. And you know, anytime we're talking about helping people look better or feel better, just saying that you do that can sometimes trigger people. So like that's where I would always imagine like just saying hi to them, and then I would imagine like my finished results of them instead of thinking about like, oh, I have to fix this and this and this and this, because people do hear and feel your thoughts too. So I feel like I was just trying so hard not to offend people, and I was extra offending them. So then I started visualizing, it's a peaceful instruction. Look at that, if I can make that, let's just do it. Then I just started like visualizing that, and then people would feel that energy that I'm there on their team to make all their dreams come true, not to point out all their flaws. So.
I know that you're talking about all markets. That's good. So just to add to what everyone else has said thus far, I just want to get a pulse check. How many of you identify as an introvert in here? Raise your hand. Okay. So, of the majority, right? A lot of us as estheticians, we choose this field because we want to help people, but we're basically choosing a career where we're going to be in a dark room and quiet and just loving on people, and we don't have to say anything, right? So what we need to do is we need to get past our fears of putting ourselves out there. That's number one. So if you want people to come to you, if you want to build your business, you need to be visible. And if you're introverted, you need to get help. You need to have a person who is really good about talking to all of their friends about you. So, how are you going to get that person? Well, you have to help people talk about you. How do you do that? Have you all heard the phrase, there's riches in the niches? Has anybody heard that? Is that new to people here? Okay. So, niching down, what that means is you have to pick something that you really, really love to do, and you gotta rock with that for a bit. You gotta hone that skill and really, really get good at it to the point where you feel so good talking about it, it doesn't feel like you're selling it. How many of you are scared to sell? Or you feel like presenting yourself is salesy? You guys feel that way? Raise your hand high if that's the case. I know that. I see it all the time in spas when I'm talking about skincare. We're so afraid to invite people to buy a product because we think they're going to think we're a used car salesperson. So you have to flip the script in your head about that. You have to start looking at it as, I'm not selling, I'm serving. Okay? So if you really want to help people, you have to invite them to your space. That's really important. So you have to get out of your way and stop picturing yourself as that sweaty, crusty salesperson, that's gonna sell the jalopy, and you're selling people, you're serving them to feel better. That's one of the things that I have in my heart whenever someone's coming into my space. I want them to leave feeling like their skin looks better than when they came in. I've already had that as an end game. I also want them to feel like they don't need makeup. Their skin's gonna look even better. But if they wanna wear makeup, it's an enhancement. So I already have a vision of what I want that person to experience and what results they're gonna have when they walk out the door. And with the niche, now, you've heard Fallon talk about, I do cosmetic acupuncture. I told you I talk about life coaching as well. So I'm really focusing on what I do differently because, a lot of people can compare and despair. They can look at, oh, so-and-so is right down the road from me and they're doing exactly what I'm doing. No, they're not. They're not. Because you have a special sauce. You have your own version of how you're delivering what you do. You just have to find a way to talk about it. So when you get that crafted, and there's ladies here that can help you with that. Fallon has courses. I know this lady over here wrote a book here as well on your clientele. There's lots of resources out there. We as estheticians can get really distracted. You might have heard bright and shiny syndrome. Have you guys heard that? Or, okay, I like that. Oh, wait, no, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I'm gonna get that certification. Oh, I can do this too. And then you can get into a pattern of just doing all of these courses and never taking a step to put yourself out there. So what you have to do is you have to find a thing that you really love to do, that you talk about it from your heart so it doesn't feel like you're selling, it feels like you're serving, okay? And you have to talk about it in a way where you set your intention about what you want people to feel and experience when they're with you. That's how you can also create the spin where it's so unique. And then you have to have that person talk about you to their friends. And the last thing I'll say is you have to also layer special touches. That's what's going to set you apart in your services. And what I mean by that is when you go to a spa and you notice this person did so many unique things to make me feel welcome. Have you ever had that experience before? Like, oh, they have the cucumber water, and then they have the towel that has the peppermint in it, and then they scrub my feet. Whatever it is that you do, make sure you have these special touches in place that make you so proud, make you feel like, oh my gosh, anybody that's going to come to me, they're going to be treated like a king or a queen. So you feel so proud talking about it, and the person that's going to be marketing you is going to be talking about, oh my gosh, so-and-so does all of these things. I feel like royalty every time I leave their space. So those are some tips that I would say to start out. And then the last thing I would say is if you have someone come into your space, I cannot tell you how many times I hear this about estheticians. There's fortune in the follow-up. Have you all heard that before? What that means is when someone comes to see you, you need to check in with them. 24 hours later, you need to be checking in with them. You need to be asking, how is your skin? How is your service? They might have a reaction and never tell you, and write a bad review, or never come back. If they have a bad reaction, you'll know because you checked in with them, and then you can help them. And then they're gonna be like, oh, she really cares. Or they might be like, oh my gosh, that was so great. I loved it. Oh, well, we didn't book your next one. You see? So you get someone in, you have to retain them. You have to rebook them. This is, like Julie and Dee said, a relationship building business. So you gotta treat your people like gold. That's where the special touches come in with the special thing that you do.
That's great. Yes, seriously. So I feel like I have a bit of a different perspective just because I am newer in the industry and I'm also 22 years old. So the common thing that I see with like my generation of estheticians is that we're solely relying on social media as our marketing or promotion platform. You should not just be, social media is a great tool, yes, but there's so many other forms of marketing and so many other forms of promotion that we need to be implementing, even though we are social media kids. So even if that's like, you're in Sephora or you're in, you're at the club, whatever it is, not being afraid to say, hey, my name's Kayla, I do lashes. It took me forever to, when I'm going to get coffee and say, I do lashes. Like, people be like, your lashes are so cute. And I'm like, I do lashes. Like, how hard is that to say? So I think too, just like everyone here said, like getting confident, putting yourself out there, and not being afraid to showcase what you do, to get those people in the door. And then once they're in the door, just giving them a safe space, making them feel comfortable, especially with the more intimate services. Crack a joke, make people feel comfortable. It doesn't have to be a, oh my coochie's out situation, like relax, everything's fine. So those would kind of be my tips.
All right. Okay, so the next question that we are going to do is, what sacrifices did you have to make to grow your business or career? Also, really quick before you start, ladies, just remember we have a lot of questions, so try to keep your answers to like 2 to 3 minutes, okay?
This is a big one for me. I have lost so many friends to my elevation. I'm so young and I've accomplished so much so quickly, so a lot of people are intimidated by that. And that has been, I don't want to get emotional, but that has been like a really tough pill for me to swallow, is that not everyone, can go where you're going. Even when, you want it so bad for them, they have to want it for themselves. So just trying to stay the course, that would be my sacrifice. Sacrificing friends, sacrificing relationships, with people who aren't aligned, sacrificing clients. Like sometimes you gotta tell people, no, not all money is good money. If you come into my space, if you make me feel like crap, then you probably just, we're not aligned. So not being afraid to like walk away from that as well and know your worth.
Ooh, that was good. I would like to riff on that as well and say relationships, for sure. There are going to be some people who cannot support you on your ascension, and it's really important to cut those cords. So I love that you brought that up. What else? I will do my best to keep this brief. I have sacrificed in the past my my energy to make things work, and I'm now in a space where I do set my breaks. I do set my boundaries, and that has actually given me more energy. So I would just like to impart upon you, if you can set your own solid business
Could Tim
boundaries.
McKenzie please come to the checkout desk? Tim McKenzie.
I'll give you an example. I don't start my day until 10 in the morning because that's when I'm at my best. And I will tell people now, no, I cannot fit you on my schedule, if, they didn't book in advance. So, to speak to my former self that did make those sacrifices, I just want to impart upon you, if you can set those boundaries sooner, your business is gonna grow.
So yeah, I would agree with what both these beautiful ladies have said, people, places, time. When I first moved into my big spot, I was like, okay, I can live in this big house or I can expand, right? So then I took the money that I was spending for this and put it towards this, Also time, and there are like certain time, energy wasting suckers, whether that is habits of our own, or when I have had employees and I want it so bad for them and they don't want it so much for themselves, or people will try to like start competing. Now I like to ask, I want to learn and we want to grow and glow together. If we're not on that same frequency of learning and growing and glowing, and we don't want that for both of each other, it doesn't mean I don't love you, it just means I don't have as much time or space for you. Because I want to be, connecting with amazing ladies like this who are on the same page as that, because, and the other ones, sometimes, we can still love people from afar. Thank you.
So yeah, I'll agree with them. Definitely sacrifice a lot of relationships, quite a few friendships, and it kind of hurts at first, but that's been okay.
After a while.
Okay, like you said, you gotta love people from a distance sometimes, and that's all right. We're doing different things, and that's fine. Another one of my biggest sacrifices was definitely time, because I definitely, my boundaries were really bad when I first started. So I definitely allowed people and things to, hinder my progress for a while. And that's why I say it's all right, because now that I can identify things that need to go away a lot faster, I don't spend so much time trying to make something work that it's not working. So I don't really look at the sacrifices really like a bad thing, because if you're learning from it and you're not repeating things over and over again, then yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I agree with everybody that has talked about time, energy, and creating boundaries are huge. There's been so many times where I feel like I've lived so many lives within our industry because I found myself doing so many things, and within that, I've been very over all those opportunities, and with those opportunities, some of them do come with sacrifices, and depending on what it is that you're working on at the moment or who you're involved with, those relationships that you have on the outside of that sometimes do need to take a back seat, because people might not be on board with you, with what your vision and what your dream and your path that you feel like you need to be taking, and you have to be okay with cutting those loose and being okay and still maintaining what you believe within yourself and what's in your heart and where you should be, and always follow what you are feeling inside. Don't let anyone take that from you. And everything, like we're always there's gonna be speed bumps, we're gonna fall, we're gonna fail in some things, but taking that as an opportunity and learning from that, as long as we're growing, that creates evolution, and that's just gonna make you stronger and better in whatever you're doing for the future. Everything that I've done leading up to this point in my career, some have been really great, some things have been like, oh, what's that, right? But they've all been stepping stones for me to get me to wherever it is that I'm going next. And so I always reflect on that and take a moment of where's the lesson in all of that, and that keeps me moving forward. But yeah, people are gonna come and go. People aren't necessarily gonna like what you're putting out there, but as long as you're staying true to yourself, that's the most important thing. And boundaries and time. I used to be a yes, and I never knew how to say no, and it burned me out. And so really making sure that you're keeping your life balance for yourself, because if you are burning yourself out, then you're not gonna be good for anybody else. It's especially those that are coming for you for a service, because the energy that you're putting out there is ultimately what they're receiving from you. Everything that we do is a transaction of energy. So if we're not in the right space and we're not grounded to where we can't provide, that is a lesson to be learned, because we won't be able to keep our clients happy, we won't be able to keep them healthy and loyal, and for them to wanna come back and receive whatever it is that we're putting out there for them. So, I'm with you, I can't start my day until like 10 o'clock, because I need that. Outside of here, I also am in healthcare, so that's a crazy environment that I find myself in, and so I still, to this day, I have a hard time with boundaries and time and giving myself, but, I've gotten better, even though I'm, old. It's taken a long time to figure that out, but those are the things that I would say definitely keep in mind.
Thank you.
So I have a friend that does like a little presentation on how to reach your dreams. And one of the things that she said that I think is so important is that you can have anything you want, but the part that nobody says is if you are willing to pay the price, because you can't do everything. And so I think about my first shop, I was still doing a lot of production work. I was really trying to ramp that up. That was like what I was doing, what I was passionate about at the time. But I'm like, production is hit and miss, especially in Indiana. So you might work for 3 months and then have nothing for 6 weeks, and then maybe something short. So I'm like, oh, I'll do a little practice out on the west side. But if I had a $20 brow on my books and I get a call to go do a $1,000 day for Eli Lilly, guess what's getting canceled? So that business did not thrive because I couldn't put my energy there. So that had to be cut off. So my production had to be production, and then I had to shut the doors to these other things because I could not put my energy there. And through COVID, it switched. So I still get calls to do production, and I turn it down because I have a commitment to my students at school. I can't just not come in to go do a movie for 6 weeks. I have a commitment to the business I'm building in my neighborhood, because I can't just like bail on those clients. That wouldn't be good. So my priorities change, but it's the same thing. I have to close doors to other things. So you're sacrificing certain opportunities to pursue the path that you want.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so the next question is going to be, how do you find and choose quality education or certifications post-graduation, especially locally or out of state?
So I talk about this a lot at school because some people are really good at social media and not good at what they're trying to sell you. We had a student graduate. She was a makeup artist before she graduated. The day of graduation, medical esthetician on her social media. It's like, no ma'am, no, you are not. You've got to dig deeper. There are a lot of people who have really glossy, beautiful, social media. They can do great ad campaigns, and they don't know what they're talking about. So it's important when you're looking that they can demonstrate their abilities. What are their qualifications? What is their education? Where did it come from? How long have they been doing it? Can you talk to former students? Have they been doing this for a while? Will their students give them good feedback? You should be able to see pictures. You should be able to see a curriculum. You should be able to talk to people who've taken the class to see how they feel about it. And if they can't give you those things, probably not worth your time or money. So anybody can get a printer and heavy stock paper and print a certificate. It's only worth the educator and the experience behind it. So you've really got to do your due diligence to find those classes. And a good way to do it, I think, is just, building that network, building that community, and talking to other professionals. Somebody says, I went to this really great class, or I went to this really great convention, and great, where is it? Could you talk? And then we all, go, oh, I want to go do that now too. And if somebody's like, this was terrible, noted.
Okay, yeah, so definitely everything that you're saying. And then I would like to reach out if you're working for somebody and they're carrying particular skincare lines, things of that nature, really finding, for me, with my business, whatever products I'm carrying, I always want to know if there's education attached to that. And so I need to know that the brand that I'm with honors that and really puts stock in making sure that I'm being taken care of and fed on the education side, and in return, I can also feed the people that work for me as well, and then I can grow my clients on that as well. So, definitely branding and who you're going to be with and what they offer, and whether that is certifications, free classes, whether it's order. Sometimes, like, I have reps that come in, they check out me all the time, but they also offer a wide range of education, and it's always ongoing. It's never the same thing over. Or then sometimes maybe it is, like if I have someone on hair color that is just joining the team, I can still bring that, I can call that person in, and I can get them started and then advance them further. Same thing with skincare. The other thing too, I would tell you is to, look into a lot of the conventions that happen. So you've got the spa aesthetics, that happen like in Florida, like there's a lot that happens in Florida, Orlando, Palm Beach, like all these other aesthetic gatherings, conventions that you can go to that can offer, advanced education. Toronto's a big spot if anybody likes makeup. Vegas is another hot spot. I spent every year in Vegas doing random things. Sometimes it's sinful, but there's education attached to that. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of NAHA, but it's the North American Hairdressers Association. So it's like the Oscars for people within our industry for makeup. And so I have been a part of that for a long time. I've taken home a lot of awards. I've worked with a lot of people. And so with that comes classes, advanced education. You might not like makeup, but you never know, you might find something that something's offering, to you that you can add to your service. For me, I'm always doing some machine makeup touch-ups. So at the end of my facials, even though we know face is clean, it's beautiful, it doesn't need makeup, but how can I enhance them in a very small way to make them be able to go outside and continue to do whatever they're doing on a daily, to make them feel like they're put together and can face the world. Because there are people that don't like to be out there bare face. I'm one of them. I've tried, I can't do it. Just can't do it. So, that's just another way to explore.
So definitely what they both said, I like classes at conventions and things like that, so whenever I go to any type of esthetician convention, look and see what classes they're offering, and I'll sign up for those. They're usually really good, and then you get some type of perks, through the brand or whatever the case like that, so that's always a good way. Also on a local level, I like to know where their certifications are, how long they've been teaching, do they have reviews somewhere. I'd be a little concerned when I don't see any reviews anywhere. But reviews are big for me, and that's just me. When I choose to work with somebody, I like to know that I can go and see like how somebody felt about the class, or even if they are posting their students and you kind of go on their page and see that they're thriving in their own business, based off the class that they took. I always like to see that too, but I like a nice paper trail from an educator. Definitely press if they are an educator, but that's not necessary in Indiana. If you teach your classes and you do it well, and you have the backing, and you have like I said, you have the reviews and you have the curriculum, I'm definitely open to taking that class. But I definitely do digging, and I usually follow people for about 3 to 6 months before I'm go ahead and take the class. Let me see what's going on here. But yeah, so I like to do my homework, and I like to just kind of watch a little bit before I decide to take a class with somebody. But definitely if you get on their website and you can see the things, and things are explained really well, and even getting on their social media and seeing that they're passionate about what they're doing, and when they're talking about things, like it makes sense, and it aligns with what you're trying to do with your business.
So I would just make sure more than anything that, if you're gonna spend money for it, that it's gonna turn into money. And then also don't beat yourself up if you go to a class and you're like, this isn't necessarily for me. Like, I feel like I've taken more classes than, that I don't make money from, but I still got stuff from it. Like, it just maybe didn't fit into my thing. And it wasn't that the class was wrong, and I know other estheticians who are making money from taking those classes, So really just, watching them for a long time. Definitely like for I've got reviews for my business, that is the spa, and I've got reviews for people who teach, or who are coming to learn from me. I also do live streams on YouTube all the time, so we always have like live education. People can come on the live stream and ask questions like forever. I do that multiple times a week. Just the attention to detail that other teachers are putting into stuff. I've taken courses from people where I don't even offer those services, but I've learned so much from them as a professional and as like a mentor that I would still say, you know, it was worth my time and money, even though I'm not offering those services. But especially when it comes to like anything that's gonna be, you know, over like $2,000 or whatever, you know, make sure that you're gonna be, I would, you know, make sure that I could make that. You know what I mean? Like with my device, it's 10 grand, but it's easy to make that every month. You know what I mean? If you can make it in a month, you can make it a year, it's gonna pay off itself, you know what I mean? But once again, like she was saying earlier, make sure that you're really spending, I spent so much time and money on branding coaching and getting out in front of people, different lifestyle energy coaching, because that's the most important thing. There are so many people like, I'm just gonna get this coaching thing, and I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna that. And I'm like, what do you think people are just like waiting to be like, can I go look at your wall and see all the pieces of paper on it? Like, nobody cares about that. People care about like, what are you gonna do for them? You know what I mean? So we should have that kind of attitude is like, what is this teacher gonna do for me as well, so that I can be doing more for my clients? Because when you're doing more for your clients, they're gonna be happy to pay you more, you know what I mean? And you might have those ones that are just like, oh, I'm wanting to do this, you know, eyebrow tattooing, but I've just been with, you know, that's such an intimate thing, somebody tattooing your face, you know what I mean? They wanted to do it for years or whatever, you know? So a lot of that, like, I'll send them to people who I know are teaching, and then I see some of my clients, and I'm like, wow, she does really good work. If I could learn from her, okay, I'll take the class then. If it's gonna be you teaching me, then I'll take the class, so, yeah. Thank you.
So I can answer this question from a couple of different angles. One, being a service provider, I would say, just to, you know, add something new to what others have said. If you know you want to go in a certain direction, I would get the service from someone else first. So get that service done, so whether it's you want to learn a special form of waxing or brow lamination, or if there's new techniques with lash extensions or facial massage, go get that service. If you like what you experience, then talk to the service provider and ask them where did they get their training. Once you find that out, if they're willing to share, then you know, I would do your due diligence. Go on the website and check the reviews. But I would also get in contact with the educator and ask questions about how you're going to be supported up until the point of you have to travel. You know, is there a pre-class that maybe is delivered virtually to get you prepared before you're there in person? What happens when you're there in person, and then what happens afterwards? So that's one thing I'd say. When we're talking about equipment, going back to the bright and shiny syndrome, there are so many things that we can invest in, right? We get so excited about, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. I have done it. I have purchased a really expensive microcurrent device with no educational support after. So it was a bust, and very, very disappointing. I definitely want to save you all from that lesson of, you know, putting a huge investment into something and hoping that you're going to learn, and only to find you don't get education, or you have to pay more for it. You want to ask those questions. Being an educator for an organic skincare line that has been voted 16 years in a row favorite product education by spa professionals, iSpa, and favorite product skincare line, I am on the side of where I deliver the education. So I go to spas and I teach estheticians about products, about Hungarian massage techniques, and about retailing. Everybody wants to learn massage. Massage is great. Your touch is really going to be important to connect with people. At the same time, retailing is really what's gonna help you build client loyalty and help your clients improve their skin at home. Okay, so you wanna be really versed and strong in how you do that. So I would say don't just invest in your skill set with your trade, but also in your ability to be able to retail. It's so important. You wanna help your clients and make your job easier so they're doing the stuff at home. It's 80% of what changes in the skin. We're the 20%, okay? So the products are the diet, we're the gym. You wanna make sure that you're versed in that. So I would invest in not only education on techniques and tools, but also on your mindset and on your abilities to build your business, okay?
So, I am definitely one of those girlies that has fallen victim to spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on courses that were not good. I'm just gonna be honest with you, I've been there, I've done it, and it's not fun. Who in here knows about the hyaluronic lip service? Yeah. I have a story after if you wanna talk to me. But one of the things that I wish I would have done just before, pouring tons of money into these, freaky courses, I feel like, one, if something is cheap, it probably is cheap quality as well. You're not gonna get a microneedling course online, you can make payment plans, it's $69.99, like, that's just, you gotta do your research a bit. Also, like they said, reaching out to like prior students, reviews and stuff like that, taking that extra step to say, okay, let me see what other girls are thinking. So that's just kind of a brief spiel on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, so our next question, actually, yes. You have a question? Okay, let's do your question and then, okay, let's do your question. Okay.
This is a little bit intimidating, but since we touched on the
Stand up
topic,
so we can hear you. Thank you.
since we touched on the topic a little bit before, how do we navigate turning down other service providers that give you negative energy? I'm a firm believer that the sun shines for everyone, but not everyone believes that way. And just as it was mentioned, not all money is good money, but not all service providers have a great intention with other service providers.
So are you asking like if another service provider wants to come to you to receive a service?
Yes, and they
Okay.
bring like negative energy, asking a lot of weird, deep questions.
Like they're poking and prodding and
Yes.
that's there to get a service?
Yes.
Okay. Keep it real.
I know, right? That's interesting.
Is it?
I think, if you're big on energy, and I don't wanna get religious, but just, discernment, when something is off, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. We have intuition as human beings, and I think you kind of know when someone is not genuine, their intentions aren't genuine, so just keep it professional, keep it surface level. If you wanna talk business, you can talk surface level business, but I'm not gonna be giving you all my vendors if make sure that relationship is mutually beneficial on both sides. You give a little, you get a little, so. that's what I feel about that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to speak on the energy piece, it's huge. If you are feeling you're in a place where it's not driving with you, and it's happening during, I would keep it short at that point. So anytime they're asking questions, I would say, that's interesting. I don't want to slice your lip. I'm gonna go around and dermaplane here. You might want to take a moment here and just let me do this. In your own way, I would also share, I want to make sure you're getting the most out of this service. So if you want to ask questions about business, we can talk about that later. If that's okay with you. If they're still persistent about, I want to know this, whatever you feel like answering, but this is where your boundaries it's gonna be a challenge, but it's also gonna stretch you to step into your power, which means saying, I'm not comfortable talking about that right now. I need to focus on giving you my best. So I'd love to just really, deliver the service. That's, it's not easy to do, especially when someone's in your care, and especially if you're wanting to give them all your love and, be nice. But if they're challenging you, you might have to just meet them that way. And then when you're done with the service, I would let them know, so I'm booking out. I don't have a lot of spots. I'm so glad we got to meet each other today. I'll put you on my wait list. That's how I handle it.
Oh, I like the wait list One thing that is like 1,000% true, doesn't matter what business you're in, like I've never had to like build somebody else's sparkle so that I could shine bright. And I really only want other people around me who are also a sparkle, so we can all sparkle together. For 1 sparkle plus 2 sparkle equals like a firework. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there is some people who are, if they would just spend half of the amount of time they spend on trying to take other people down and to focusing on themselves and what they can do positive for the world, for their clients, you know what I mean? Like, what a beautiful place it would be. Unfortunately, that's not reality. You know what I mean? I was embezzled from a spa manager. Sometimes it's the people in your own house. You know what I mean? And I'm lucky the spa's still alive today. But now, I've also been so good at surrounding myself with amazing people that sometimes we can forget that the people are like that. So this is gonna sound silly, but I make sure that I watch a little bit of Judge Judy every month. To remind myself how people can be, and I'm grateful with my inner circle. I am 51% introvert, 49% extrovert, but yeah, because I would have people, I had my spa in Miami, and they would just meet me the first time, oh, you have another spa in Indiana? What have you done that? I'm sure she's not stealing from me. She would never do that. I love her. She's they'll do it. And if the first time, if you're hearing it from yourself or you're hearing it from outside, you know what I mean? Sometimes that's the universe speaking through you. And the way I've come in there and some girls trying to look at her like, girl, did you lose your shoes? Are you okay? Like, what are you doing? And then also, be like, look, if you want to talk about this, you know what I mean? Then we can book another time for that. And then we can book a time, like you're gonna book and you're gonna pay, and then you can pick my brain. And I've done that to other estheticians I have respect for, where I'm like, hey, can I just take you to Ruth's Chris and I'll pay you for your time? Because I respect that, you're gonna be giving me something of value, so I'm gonna pay for your time. Well, anytime I take them to Ruth's Chris or somewhere fancy, they never ask for money. You know what I mean? It's more about respect. You know what I mean? So if they're not coming to you with respect, then, but I have to be like, get your shoes and go. Like, what are you doing? Like, the thing about shoes is always weird. So, thank you.
I will say, when I first started my business, I had a lot of aspiring waxers or people who wanted to create products, things like that would come to me just to get services, just to ask odd questions. And because my boundaries were so bad then, it really just used to make me super anxious. Like I see him on my listeners, I don't know how to tell her, I don't want her to come back. So it was really bad, the first couple of years. Now I will say, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of a natural deflector now. Because now I was like, oh, we can walk in circles for 10 minutes, girl. We can do that. So the questions start getting a little weird. It was like, oh, so what makes you want to do that? Or how long have you been thinking about that? By the time we get back to the odd questions, the service is over. You're done. It was nice hearing you. But on another note too, and I think it's just the kind of environment that I built for myself and my clients. I feel like clients that don't align with me really work themselves out.
Yeah.
That's been, and I'm super blessed for that, especially in these later years. I know I can almost tell first appointment if we are gonna vibe or not. And they might come once or twice again, but eventually it feels maybe feels me, I don't know. But eventually they work themselves out, and I really don't have to worry But, which kind of sucks, because I feel like majority of estheticians, majority of estheticians I've met, they're pretty open books. Like, you know, if you, like she said, if you approach people respectfully, like, you can get what you're asking for, 9 times out of 10. But when you go about it in an odd way, it just, it creates a bad taste in somebody's mouth. And then, like, if somebody asks that person about you later on or something, you know, and then it just, you know, the industry is, especially here in India, is super small. So, you know, if you got a question or something, just ask somebody. You don't have to be underneath my desk.
I'm really looking for the content.
Okay, let me ask you a question. The person that you're referring to, is this something that you work with, or is this something from an outside that's coming in?
They found me through social media, mentioned like, so great, I'm gonna start posting like you. Immediately when they walked in, like treatment room, they're like, oh, do you own it or rent it? Like, really awkward. And they're a service provider as well, family-owned business.
So it sounds like they were like really trying to like get research on what's going on around, right? To see like, okay, am I doing this right, or should I do this differently,
I
or?
don't know.
You don't know.
Feel that way.
Okay. Was it more about like the space and the environment, or was it more service related? Or was it everything?
Everything.
It's everything. So yeah, it sounds like she was like poaching for information and trying to figure out what they needed to do in order to grow and not trusting their own, you know, gut and what they need to be doing with their own path. Because I'm in education, I've been in education for so long, I'm such an open book and I'm such a giver when it comes to information. And I don't really think about some of those things until the situation turns creepy. Like, it's weird. Right? So when I do, and I have to listen to myself internally, like, okay, something's not right here. And so if there's something off, then I'll always redirect and like send them elsewhere, because I don't know what the intention is there. And it is, it's about mutual respect, and it's about, you know, coming in to having a conversation, because I'm all about wanting to grow somebody. And that will always be my thing, whether, you know, it's growing myself, people that work for me, my friends, you know, anybody, whoever that is, like, I'm an open book and I'll always give information. But I just always want to make sure that the intention is there, there's value there, and, you know, and that there's positivity that's coming with that. So yeah, I don't know.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
It was very awkward, because I'm all, the sun can shine for everyone. I really, truly believe that. But it just started getting really, really weird when they started talking about other service providers. So then I was like, okay,
Yeah.
red flags.
Yeah, and I'm really big about good business, so because like some of us just met today, some of us we've known each other for quite some time. And because our network, especially here, the market, like you said, and it's small, and you never know who you're gonna run into, you never know who you're gonna work with, you never know who's gonna end up being your boss one day, you know, like all these things. And it's very important to like not cross boundaries and not, you know, settle things on bad terms. And I just think there's a fine line there. And so, yeah, you just gotta get them out of the way and keep it moving forward. So whatever you feel, keep doing it, and, you know, good luck to you on that. Hopefully they're not knocking on the door again, wanting another service.
So I think they covered it pretty well. Like, short answer, and this is stupid and easy, lip mask. Boom, lip mask. I mean, which, like, and I don't mean to oversimplify, much like as an educator, I have no problem if somebody pays for my time, I'll answer your questions, that's cool. And if it feels weird to me, then we're going to, I mean, again, like the station, we can talk in circles all day long, I don't care. We'll deflect if I don't feel what you're getting after is correct, then we're just gonna BS until you're done. And that's cool. I have gotten to a point where I have no problem letting people who do not vibe go. So, and it's as easy as going, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have any availability.
Should we have master certification in bullshit?
Yes. Yes. So you don't need to tolerate it, but you also don't need to elaborate on it. Like, you know, I have a wait list, or I'm so sorry, I'm just booked, or I'm not taking new clients right now, whatever it is. But a lot of times I feel like even one of my besties now, we met because she booked a brow wax. She had just moved from Florida. She's trying to connect with other makeup artists. She didn't tell me that's why she was there. She got her service, and afterwards she's like, "Can I see you in the hall?" I'm like, "Was it bad?" And she's like, "Well, I want you to know I've been stalking you, and we have in common, and I just don't know how to meet people in town." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "Oh, let's go have lunch. Let's go do the whole thing." And like, it was fine. So sometimes people come to you because they just don't know how else to approach you. So I feel like booking a service is respectful because they're paying you for your time, even if that time is like 10 minutes to get a quick facial wax. But when it feels bad, you don't have to have them back.
Answer questions with questions.
Yeah.
It's the best way to just keep them in that circle. Okay, so we are gonna do raffle prizes really quick and then just kind of take a small break. So if you guys need to go to the restroom, if you want to get something to drink. Is there anybody that was wanting to get a headshot today that hasn't got one yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys are wanting to get a headshot, I would recommend you going and doing that now. So that way she doesn't have to sit here until the end of the panel. And then is there anyone who wanted to submit a raffle before I call for raffles? Go ahead and do that now really quickly. If you guys need to go to the bathroom, I'm gonna probably draw the raffles and like, as soon as they're done, to be honest. While they're doing that, actually, before everybody leaves, also, there are 2 prizes underneath the chair. So everybody go underneath your chair. It's gonna be taped underneath. Oh yeah, stuff up under there. You were Did anyone find one? No? Okay, so we have one. There's another one. It's a free for all. Whoever finds it is yours. Oh, you do have it. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. It's been found. It's been found. So, I believe one of them is a free one-on-one class, and then the other one is what is yours? The $50? Okay, yeah, so, I created an official online class and dropped it today, so you can get that for free. Talk to me before you leave, and I'll get that for you, okay?
Next Monday. Tomorrow is, and then Monday after
Talking about we can't stream in class. Right, we are the class. Okay, we're gonna come back for a part 2.